In 1854, Great Britain went to war with Russia. Now, Britain had not been in a shooting war in more than 40 years, and the generals forgot something about war, namely that there would be casualties. And these poor British soldiers who had taken a bullet for the Queen ended up being warehoused in a barrack building in Scutari, Turkey. And reporters started sending newspaper articles back to London telling these people in Britain how badly their husbands and their fathers and their sons were being cared for. There was an incredible public outcry. And in all of Great Britain, only one person was prepared to deal with this healthcare crisis of the time, and that was Florence Nightingale, the lady with the lamp. She walked into the Scutari Barrack Hospital for the first time, and it was what one eyewitness called a vast field of suffering and misery. Now think about this. Florence Nightingale was an upper-class British woman. She could have lived a life of pampered ease in the mansion of her parents, and she chose instead to devote her time to working and living in the most squalid hospital you can imagine. Who asked her to do that? Nobody. Who asked Martin Luther King to start the civil rights movement? Nobody. Who asked Candy Lightner to start Mothers Against Drunk Driving? Nobody. Who asked Millard Fuller to start Habitat for Humanity or Wendy Kopp to start Teach for America? Nobody. They saw a need. They saw an opportunity to make a difference. They became leaders because they chose to become leaders. Management is a job description. Leadership is a life decision. I'm Joe Ty, CEO of Values Coach, and your coach for this course on the 12 Core Action Values. And today we start Core Action Value number 12, leadership. Now, if you have really taken to heart Core Action Values number 1 through 11, you are going to become the sort of person who inspires other people, who has influence on other people. In other words, a leader. And let's talk a little bit more about leadership. We began this course by talking about Core Action Value number 1, authenticity. And with leadership, we really in many ways circle back to authenticity. Because the best leaders aren't leaders because they want to make more money. They aren't leaders because they want power. They're leaders because it's who they are. They have to become leaders to achieve their goals. They have to become leaders to make a difference in the world. That's what leadership is really ultimately all about. It is a life decision. Now, what are some of the characteristics of the values-based leader? One is there is this incredible paradox that the authentic leader, the values-driven leader, is somebody who has incredible personal drive. They're very committed. They have courage and perseverance, 2 of the values that we've studied. But they couple this competence, this ability to get things done, this drive, with a great personal humility. Jim Collins, who wrote Built to Last and Good to Great, called it level 5 leadership, the paradoxical combination of humility and ability. When at the end of the Revolutionary War, when King George III heard that George Washington was going to turn back his military commission, something no conquering general in the history of the world had ever done, go back to civilian life, he said, if he does that, he will be the greatest man in the world. Of course he did, and he was. So think about it. You've got to think about, how do I get my work done? How do I achieve my results? You've got to have that personal confidence coupled with the humility, the ability to say, I don't know, or to say, I'm sorry, I really blew it. Something else about leaders is that they have a solid sense of belief in who they are and in what they're trying to get done, even when the rest of the world doubts it. And they're optimistic. They believe they're going to get things done. You know, I'm often called Pollyanna. And I say, thank you. Go read the book. Watch the movie. Because Pollyanna took a community that was broken, that was hurt, filled with hate, filled with pain. And by the time the story ends, she had transformed that community into a place of love and healing. And what's wrong with that? Nobody wants to follow a leader who thinks it's not going to work. Leaders, almost by definition, give us hope. And they give us courage. After 9/11, let's look at the airline industry. After 9/11, the CEO of United Airlines sent a letter to all 100 and some thousand employees of United Airlines saying, we have a terrible crisis, we could, and the word he used was perish. This company could perish within the next several months. And they laid off thousands of people. Within a couple of years, United went through bankruptcy. I believe as a direct result of that leader's cowardice. On the other hand, the CEO of Southwest Airlines sent a letter out to everybody saying this was a terrible tragedy, but there's no reason to believe that it's going to harm our business. They didn't lay anybody off. They assured people of their job security. They had this optimism that we can deal with this. They continued to grow by hiring the people that United and the other airlines had laid off. Finally, your choice of leadership style. Are you going to be the kind of leader who beats people up or the kind of leader who inspires people? That is a reflection of your values. And it is a reflection of your expectations. And that's the first cornerstone of leadership, is that leaders have high expectations for us. So in the next module, we'll talk about expectations. And for now, think about what is it you expect of yourself, of other people. See you then.